Hello everybody, it's EzraTime again here. Welcome back to another movie review, and today I want to review a movie called Ghostbusters, and I know that this is probably not that relevant, for the movie topic, but I don't know, I've been watching Ghostbusters recently, Ghostbuster 1 and 2 because I don't know, I just loved them when I was a kid, and I thought that well, I might as well make a review for the first Ghostbuster movie and then maybe the second one in the future, who knows, we'll see. But yeah, so Ghostbuster is directed by Ivan Reitman, and it was written by Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis, and obviously star Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Sigourney Weaver, Ernie Hudson, Rick Moranis, and anniepotts. So obviously Ghostbuster is a really it's a classic movie, for a lot of people, for myself included. Like I said before, I watched this movie as a kid. My dad is the one that introduced me to Ghostbusters. And I think back in the day I was kind of like in like a conflict, whether Ghostbuster 1 or 2 are the better one. But I feel like now, I think the first one is obviously the best one. The second one was not that bad, but obviously it's not as good as the first one. So as we all know, Ghostbuster tells a story for Dr. Peter Venkman, and his buddies as well, Ray Stantz, Egon Spengler, is basically they have this idea for, or like have this theory about ghosts and supernatural entities. At least for Ray and Egon, because I think Venkman is the kind of guy who doesn't really care that much about his surrounding. But I still think he's a funny character. And I think all that goes to Bill Murray's performance. But eventually one day they managed to figure out that, oh, there is a ghost in this library, which I think has a great opening sequence for the movie. And I think that opening does scare me, when I watch it as a kid. I was like, oh damn, that lady scream actually kind of scares me as a kid. But obviously now it's like, yeah, not so much. But I feel like they're saying something, because Ghostbusters are made for, it's a comedy movie, but there are several moments where they actually has some scary moment, and I love that. I love that the movie is actually trying to scare kids, at least. And I mean, it does scares me for the opening, and only the opening, that's it. But anyway, they find out that there is a ghost in the library, but eventually they realize that, oh, wait a minute, what did we do? And I love how Venkman just like pulling Ray's like ear, like, okay, come here, like, what do we do? And then Ray just like, get her. Like, and the ghost just like scream. It's like I really love that moment so much. Like, it goes to for Dan Aykroyd and Harold Ramis performance as well. I do think they have a really great chemistry, and I love how Venkman just like backing off without even, again, he didn't have a scary expression, unlike Ray and Egon, but I still think it's really funny in my opinion. But this is where they get fired from the university, because obviously they are considered a fraud, because their theory doesn't make sense. But eventually they decide to, build their own team, which is the Ghostbuster team in New York City, obviously. And they're gonna try to make some business out of it, And for a longest time, nobody is really calling them, until one day this lady named Dana Barrett, played by Sigourney Weaver, like came to their place, because apparently she has, a paranormal activity, because she lived in this building, and apparently there is this like once you look at the fridge, there is like this, I don't know, this dog or something, right? That basically yell Zool, and that's where she decided to visit the Ghostbuster. And then this is where obviously Venkman are obviously, kind of like having a crush on Dana Barrett, obviously. And he decided to check the apartment, but eventually found out that there is nothing there. uh but at the last night, basically you could say that, because obviously their petty cash is running out, they finally got a call, and it leads me to this one of my favorite sequences in the movie, where uh where Janine just like yelling, "We got one!" And then the song just play as the Ghostbusters are suiting up, and I love that song so much, man. It's so like the '80s song, because, well, I mean, the movie is released in the '80s, so obviously, but I love that so much, man. Like the song, and seeing the Ghostbusters, seeing the Acta One siren for the first time, like that was amazing. I love that moment so much. But again, it leads to their first job in a hotel, where they meet this famous ghost named Slimer, which I think that becomes like the staple for Ghostbuster. You could say that, So eventually they decide to capture Slimer in the wedding area, I think, right? Where they basically just like vandalize the area. But this is where they got the first ghost. They are successful, but eventually they have to they have to make the hotel paying $5,000 to them, despite the fact they already destroyed the area in the wedding. So it's like, or in the ballroom. Like it's like, oh man, that's kind of cruel, but okay, it's funny, right? It's funny. There we see the Ghostbusters are really booming in their business, on New York, because there is so many ghost sighting in New York, and this is where we see, or like we hear the song Ghostbuster by Ray Parker Jr., which I might add is my favorite song ever, because it's so catchy, and hearing up again when they are, like doing ghost busting is amazing, man, for that scene alone. Um, so yeah, after that, and after we found out that their business are booming, we met a new character played by Ernie Hudson named Winston Xenobor. And it's always like bizarre to me because I feel like when I watched this movie as a kid, I always remember Winston, but I did not remember that in the first movie he was introduced this late, until like I recently rewatched it. I was like, oh yeah, like he was introduced pretty late in the movie, but I think it's saying something that as a kid I remember him as a character, because usually when you have that kind of character they just appear like halfway through the movie, you probably gonna forget them, because I feel like Winston doesn't get to do much in the movie, because he's just like, oh, he's the fourth member of the Ghostbuster, and he just like doing this for the money clearly. But I feel like they're saying something about the character that is actually a good character, because I remember him, as the main part of the Ghostbuster team, despite originally he's not, but either way, I love Ernie Hudson's performance as Winston, that he just wanted to believe this ghost busting and stuff like that, because he just wants the money. But I like it, that he just here for the money, but he actually genuinely care for the job. So they decided to continue their research about Zool, and eventually they found out that there is this connection with another ghost named Gozer the Gozerian, and then obviously Bankman tell that to Dana, and then once Dana get home to her apartment, this is where we see the scene that actually pretty scary in my opinion, because as she sit in a sofa, right, and then she saw like the door glowing, and there is a bunch of hands just like grabbing her, and then like dragging her to the kitchen room, right, and then we see the terror dog for the first time, Zool, right. So obviously they possess Dana, and then after that Vangman arrived, and this is where the movie kind of like give a reference to The Exorcist, because where you see Dana just like, there is no Dana, only Zool. I still find that voice to be scary, and especially Sigourney Weaver's face. She's smiling, right? And it's like, damn, that is scary. That is actually terrifying. And that's what I'm saying. Like as a kid, that was terrifying. And even now as an adult, I still found that scene pretty terrifying. And all that thanks to Sigourney Weaver's amazing performance. And again, like I said, like he starts, Dana start floating. So I think that's like a reference to the, again to The Exorcist, right? Which I think is a pretty cool, But either way, so Vegman decided to sedate, Dana, or I guess Zool, and then this is where we found out that there's a second terror dog named Vince, right? I think that's his name, Vince Clorto, the Keymaster. And he decided to possess Louis Tully, played by again Rick Moranis. I think Rick Moranis does a great job as Louis Tully, as this really weird character, but I think it's really really charming and funny at the same time. But eventually, Vince, the terror dog, managed to get Louis, and then eventually Louis was delivered to the Ghostbuster, and this is where the Ghostbuster found out that, oh, there is a Vince Clorto, the Keymaster, and then there is Zool, the Gatekeeper, and obviously, like, these two are not, like, you can't let these two met, obviously, well, they opened the gate, So in the midst of all of this, we met this new character again, played by William Atherton, named Walter Peck, and he is a dick, obviously. And I love how William Atherton performs in this role, because he does play a dickhead pretty well. Because William Atherton also plays some similar role in the Die Hard movie, where he plays this reporter on Die Hard 1 and Die Hard 2. Like, he's a dick in that movie, and he's also a dick in this movie, And yeah, this is a great performance, but eventually he basically said that, well, he doesn't trust Bankman and the Ghostbuster because he is part of the environmental protection or something like that, right? And then he basically is suspicious that maybe these people, Bankman, are using some sort of chemical that makes people see ghosts, and that's how they are a fraud in the first place, because it's so convenient that the ghosts are starting to appear once the Ghostbuster exists, so it's like, oh, that's really convenient. That's a huge coincidence, so that's why Pac wants to investigate, this Ghostbuster, But eventually he gets like a warrant, and then he ordered like a worker to shut down the ghost trap, you could say that, from the building. But obviously Egon and then Vangman are telling them like, no, don't do that because that's bad, it's gonna blow up, but eventually Pax said that, no, do it, because I order you. And this is where we see like a bunch of ghosts coming out of the building, because there's a huge explosion because of the ghost trap getting shut down. Which is just like, wow, okay, like, to me that's a really really cool, and I guess you could say a pretty scary scene to some people, because this scene took place in a broad daylight, right? And then, but I feel like the music that they were playing in the background, and then the way it was shot, I think it was pretty scary, because like you see a bunch of these ghosts are flying all over the city, basically it's a sign, according to Vince, and then we see Zul getting up, after being sedated, and then this explosion wake her up, and this is where Vince and Zul meet up, and that's where they got the ritual done. You could say that, So the Ghostbusters were taken to jail, and this is where we found out about Ivo Shandor, which is the guy that orchestrates this entire Gozer to Gozerian thing, because he's a worshipper of Gozer. And then the mayor of New York City want to meet the Ghostbuster, because obviously there is a bunch of supernatural activity happening all over the town. And this is where we see another funny scene with Walter Peck, because obviously I love this quote by Vagman basically saying that, yeah, that's true. This man has no dick. It's like, I love that so much, or like he called Walter Peck Mr. Pecker. It's like, yeah, I love that. It's a really cheesy joke, it's a dick joke obviously, but I love that so much because it's Bill Murray. So they managed to convince the mayor to side with them, and this is where we see the Ghostbusters are saving the day, again, saving the day song playing in the background, and then we see them like heading towards the Dana Barrett's apartment, and then we see there's a bunch of clouds in there. It's a cool moment, seeing the Ghostbuster arrive, saving the day playing in the background, and then you see a bunch of people are cheering for the Ghostbuster. Like, it's just a fun time, man. It's a classic scene. And as they get to the apartment, this is where we get another classic scene, where they met Gozer the Gozerian. Like all of them are teaming up together, obviously, to stop Gozer, but for some reason, Vangman just like yelling to Ray, like, "Go get her, Ray!" It's like, yeah, just go get her. You got this, you got this. And Ray just like, you know what? And then obviously Ray just tried to talk to Gozer, but Gozer just like, "Are you a god?" And then Ray just like, "No." Then die. It's like, I love that scene so much. It's such a classic dialogue, you could say that. And yeah, after this we see another classic scene for the movie, where we see Gozer is asking the Ghostbuster that, choose the form of the Destructor, and then Ray, just it just pops up in his head, it's a Stay Puft Marshmallow Man, which is another classic monster from Ghostbuster, and then it's just like, yeah, the rampage for Stay Puft Marshmallow is not that long, to be honest, but I feel like it's really effective, because I feel like it doesn't really need to be that long anyway, but it's like it's a funny moment, where Ray just like think of this giant marshmallow man, it's like, yeah, okay, sure, Ray, cool, so they decide to fight the marshmallow man, but obviously it's not enough. So they decide to cross the stream, and now according to Egon, you cannot cross the stream because obviously you're gonna die, you're gonna like disintegrate or something like that, right? But eventually they decide to, let's cross the stream because that's the only way to defeat Gozer, and so they did. The place exploded, the Stay Puft Marshmallow melt, and then and then they fall onto Walter Peck, which I think is pretty funny, and yeah, that's how the movie ends. They save Dana, they save Louis, and they got out the apartment, and then we see a bunch of people celebrating, and then obviously we see or like we hear Ghostbuster by Ray Parker Jr. once again, and yeah, I love this movie so much, man. And of course, the music by Elmer Bernstein is also amazing, there is several notes that I remember about the Ghostbuster, for the first movie, that I'm kind of sad that the in the sequel they don't exactly using that until Ghostbuster Afterlife, where Rob Simonson is like using Elmer Bernstein's score in that movie, because I think I really, really appreciate Rob Simonson for doing that in the newest Ghostbuster movie. So yeah, great music, great song by Ray Parker Jr., great performance by Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, ErnieHudson, anniepotts, Sigourney Weaver, Rick Moranis, like it's just amazing all together. And yeah, this movie is such a classic. It's my childhood movie, And I'm really excited for the new Ghostbuster movies, which is gonna be released on March 2024. And I heard that the original team is going to come back, which also I think is amazing, you know. But sadly we lost Harold Ramis in 2014, you know. So rest in peace, Harold Ramis, you know. Because he is amazing as Egon Spangler, you know, like he's an amazing comedian, you know, and I think he made several movies as well. And I think the only movies that I watched from Harold Ramis is Bedazzle with Brendan Fraser, and that is a damn good comedy movie, you know, and he has a really cool message, you know, so I might review that in the future. But yeah, and he wrote this movie with Dan Aykroyd, so again, great job on the writing. I think it's a really effective movie. It's really funny in my opinion, you know. And of course Ivan Reitman as well. I think great directing overall, you know. So I love this movie. So yeah, you guys can let me know in the comment section below, guys. What do you guys think about Ghostbuster 1984? Do you guys love it? You know, what is your favorite scene of the movie? You know, let me know in the comment section below. And yeah, if you guys enjoyed this video, make sure you guys, you know, charge that proton pack and then shoot the subscribe button and then the like button as well. And make sure you guys bring the trap as well. You know, you gotta like, you know, trap my subscribe button right there, you know, and the like button. Don't forget. But yeah, that's my review for Ghostbuster, guys. And again, I hope you guys enjoy it. I guess stay tuned for more reviews in the future. I might review Ghostbuster 2 sometime in the future, or maybe other movies as well. Who knows? But yeah, either way, guys. Again, I hope you guys enjoy this review, and I will see you guys in the next one. Then, bye.